everyone, and welcome to Build Series live in New York City. I'm Lauren Moraski from HuffPost. Our next guest is a singer, dancer, and choreographer who notched a string of hits in the 80s and 90s, from Straight Up to Rush Rush. The pop icon went on to become a beloved judge on American Idol, and she recently launched a Las Vegas residency dubbed Forever Your Girl. Please, everyone, put your hands together for the one and only Paula Abdul.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Paula, thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I feel so welcome, too.
Good. Yeah, we have a great crowd here
Yes,
today
we do.
on this rainy day in New York City. You have a lot going on, so we have a lot to cover today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm best. My mom always said, you want to keep her happy? Keep her busy.
Keep her busy. Do you feel like you thrive the most when you're busy?
Of course. I love what I do, so.
And this time, you're doing it in Vegas, which is very cool. We saw you do the tours in the last couple of years, but this time you're doing a residency. Why did now feel like the right time to put your tour and put on hold and sit up and stay in Vegas?
It's, to play in Vegas and have a residency has been part of my bucket list. And, in the past few years after touring, I felt like my show is perfect for Las Vegas. And it's, with me being a choreographer and a producer and director and all those things, I come up with theatrical aspects that, and try to keep it in a vein that's still pop, but an extravaganza as well. So I'm really, really thrilled and blessed that the Caesars Group asked me to participate in having my own residency. It's at the Flamingo, which is an incredible, legendary showroom where the Rat Packs performed with so many other greats.
That must feel really good to be playing there night after night, and for places that everybody's been to. It's really cool.
It is. It's so much fun, and like the audiences come in, and from the moment you walk into the showroom, you're part of the show. It starts right there. It's very interactive with the audience. It's a visual feast. Everyone's standing up singing and having fun. Scat Cat's there too.
Yes, of
with
course.
a bigger dressing room than I have. But I'm having a blast.
But that's the thing. This show is not just, it's the hits, that's everything that we know, but you do bring in some of that theatrics and some of
Absolutely.
So can you give us a little bit more of a hint of what we can expect if we show
And
up?
I do storytelling. I talk about, from my humble beginnings and how I kind of became the performer that I am. It's a different kind of show, and it's just very joyful, and it's funny. And in case you're wondering if I jump off of things, I do, and I get it over with in the very first number. 15 feet, I jump.
Do you ever get nervous to do something like that these days after having done it for so many years?
There's always a sense of trepidation at the beginning because sometimes there are no marks on the stage, and I trust my dancers. Boy, do I ever trust them, because I know where they all live. But the very first time getting back and doing it, I look from up above. I'm going, no, come closer, come closer. And they're going, no, Paula, you jump far, and then we're running to catch you. And I go, okay, I'm going to trust what you're saying. But yeah, I get injuries, lots of bruises in this region here, because they catch me right there.
Unbelievable. Well, you have to, like you said, you have to trust these people to be your backup.
I do, and I'm a daredevil.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of heights.
Well, that's the thing. Having done this for so many years, with a show like this, how much are you choreographing today? How much are you relying on other people? Because it is your show. It sounds like a lot of it is really coming from you.
Well, it's the essence and the legacy of my choreography, but I brought in a couple of amazing talented people as well that once were students of mine, and some who are brand new, cutting edge, that I love what they're doing, because it reminds me of back when I started. I was always looking for incredible dancers, untapped talent that had something different and unique about them. I'm working with some incredible girl named Nika, Cameron, and Tassandra, and I'm working with, I don't know if I'm sure you've heard of them, Nappy Tabs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're my creative directors, and I'm having a blast. It's really a fun show.
That's great. I mean, to hear all those hits in one place, and for you, it must be nice not to have to jump around from city to city. You get to kind of sit up and hang out in Vegas a little bit. Have you been enjoying the city?
Yeah, I must say, like I'm one of those weird ones that do enjoy bus trips, and I mean, I love it, but there's something really special about being situated in one place at the Flamingo, and people come there because it's it's wear and tear traveling a lot, being on the road. So this is exciting.
That's really great. I know you've done a bunch of shows already, but later this month in October you'll be kicking off more, right? And
Yeah.
it goes through.
The official opening is October 22nd, and I'm playing through January.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
beginning of January.
Well, you look phenomenal. What does
you.
it take to put together yourself for the show physically?
Takes an army.
Yeah.
It's actually it's the 30-year anniversary of my Forever Your Girl album. When you think about it, and I'm dancing still fiercely and ferociously, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body. So it's not like I can't take my body for granted. I have to listen to it. I have to have a recovery time from when you physically exert yourself like that. I take ice baths after I perform, which is not fun. It's really not fun, but it's necessary because it helps reduce the inflammation. I have to warm up a lot more than I used to because, I talk with my body and I say, feet, don't fail me now. And I want to make sure that my muscles are warmed up. And I try to eat healthy, especially when I'm gearing up and getting ready to perform. We do 8 to 10 hour rehearsals a day. I'm more mindful of my food and keeping, kind of like an alkaline, not strict diet, but to make sure there's less inflammation in my body.
Sure, just to keep healthy and making sure that you're giving your body a rest too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
Yeah, but you know me, I'm antsy. I can't even sit in a makeup chair. I want to dance. And the makeup artist is going, can you sit still? But no, I'm always moving around.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just have to say, I saw you on your first ever tour.
Really?
You played Jones Beach. It was
I
actually the
did.
first concert I ever went to without my parents. My parents dropped myself and a friend off.
How brave of them.
I know. And Color Me Bad opened up for you.
Yes, they did.
It's been several years since that. But
More than several.
Yeah, more than, it was 1992 or 93. And I think it was 93, if I remember, 92, 93, if I remember correctly. But a lot has changed since then, And, that was right when you put out, your first album, second album, right after that. I mean, what was it like at that height where no one knew who Paula Abdul was? Okay, maybe they watched the Lakers, they knew that. But then everyone's singing your song. Everyone knows your name. I mean, it must have been insane.
It's probably, insane is the right word, and surreal. I mean, I had my humble beginnings. I started as a Laker girl. No one knew, including myself, that would turn in and be the door that opened up to become a choreographer. Who knew that season ticket holders at the fabulous Forum where the Lakers played were very influential people, like the Jackson brothers. And, the coolest thing is when the front office says, Paula, the Jackson brothers would like to know who choreographs the Laker girls. And I remember, there's going to be a meeting because you're going to meet on a potential reunion tour with including Michael. And I remember, and this happened a lot in my early career, whenever a big job, big job. I mean, hey, I got started working with the Jacksons. I'd be in my Wrangler Jeep with the windows rolled up, sitting in my car, going, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a fraud. It's like, what am I gonna do? And then I'd slap myself silly, and I'd suit up and I'd go. And I think it's a through line with a lot of entertainers and artists, and in most professions, not even including this industry, but you kind of throw yourself into the deep end and you figure it out because you're not gonna sink. You're gonna swim. And for me, it's like my humble beginnings were with pretty legendary people, and I had to figure it out. I had to just keep figuring it out.
Gosh. And I mean, I also sense a lot of motivation and dedication. I think there's a story that when you listen to one of the couple of demos of your first early hits, they were going to be tossed in the garbage at one point, right?
This is true. This is the funniest story, actually. My mother worked for the last 10 years of his life, a very legendary, prolific director named Billy Wilder, who discovered Marilyn Monroe. And I used to say, gosh, Mom, can you please introduce me to Mr. Wilder? And she'd say, you're a cheerleader. You know, and I'd go, but Mom, one day I know I'm going to be successful in this business. And she said, but it wasn't until I became a choreographer that Mr. Wilder said, I'd love to meet your daughter. And he was kind of grooming me to become a director. At the same time, my mother was telling Mr. Wilder, I think she's going to put the directing thing on hold because she wants to make an album. And they were very disappointed in me. But my mother's young assistant then walked up to my mom and said, Miss Abdul, my boyfriend's an aspiring singer, not singer. My boyfriend's an aspiring songwriter. My mom said, who's he written for? She goes, well, nobody that's notable yet. And can I submit a song from him? And my mom said, sure. I got a call from my mom 2 days later saying, are you still coming over? Because every Thursday I'd go over for chicken and rice-a-roni. She said, you still coming over? I said, I'm coming over. She goes, oh my God, Paula. I got this demo that my assistant submitted to me. It's the most god-awful thing you've ever heard. And I don't know what I'm going to tell her. And I went over for dinner, and she played this cassette. It was recorded, it was like an 8-track recording with someone plunking on a computer and singing notes that I've never heard of, like in between notes. It was strange. And we were laughing and crying, and my mother threw it in the trash can. And I dug it out of the trash can, and I said, there's something really cool about this song. It was straight up. And it was crazy because I was almost done with my album, and I begged the record company. Now, how am I going to beg the record company? And I have this demo that doesn't sound really good because it's pretty inaudible sounding. And I had to play it for them. I didn't have time to demo it. And they just looked at me and kind of went, are you crazy? I said, no, I really believe in it. Please let me do it. And, you know, at that time, the label said, okay, well, we'll give $2,500 to record the whole thing. Literally, this guy, Elliot Wolf, genius, looked like a cross between Steven Spielberg and Woody Allen, with big glasses, but a genius. He was studying to be a nuclear physicist. Here I am at a studio apartment recording straight up in the shower. The funniest thing is when I turned into the record label, they said, oh, look, it's a B-side. I said, okay, well, great, because he wrote another song for me called Cold Hearted Snake. And I'm not kidding. This time they gave him $5,000 whopping. That changed my life. And what happened was, when the album was first released, the first several thousand, like 100,000 copies, you couldn't do anything, but you can't change it. But I'm saying this because in the recording, master recording, you could actually hear someone doing this and straight up. Shut up. Because I was recording it in the shower. Oh my God. But the craziest thing was a song that was not meant to be, but a song that I heard, something special, ends up on my album. And that was the song that went crazy. I'm at a station in San Francisco, a P1 station called KMEL, really believed in that song. It wasn't a single, and started playing it every half hour. And their sister station, Z100, started playing it. And in a matter of 7 to 10 days, that's when people are going, Paula Abdul, and I'd think, are they looking at me, or who's saying my name? But that's what happened, and it was started with Straight Up.
That's an incredible story, and there's so many layers to that story.
Yeah, my life's kind of like that in a very Forrest Gumpish way.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, this is the same album that notched you 4 #1 hits. You became the first female to have a debut album with 4 '1 hits. I mean, what a feeling that must have felt like at that time for you.
It was an incredible time, and Virgin Records, who had signed me. It was a strange time because I also was at the height of my choreography career. And people weren't at first putting two and two together that Paula Abdul, the choreographer, and is now Paula Abdul, the artist. And I was battling it out because, like, the coup de grace for any choreographer is to get asked to choreograph the Academy Awards. And at that time, I was asked to do that. But my record company was saying, no, you have to go on tour. And it was just a battle. I go, but it's both careers. If one, please let me do this. And the thing is that they were gracious enough to let me do the Academy Awards. And the coolest thing was, at that time, I was very persistent about having a song on my album that lent itself to a duet so that I could create a gift that I could give to my mentor, my idol, Gene Kelly. And there was a song called Opposites Attract. And I had it all figured out. I already had 6 singles out, okay? It was time to go away. No debut artist has 6 singles out. And I came in with an idea. I said, I wanted to create this animated character so I could dance with it, just like how Gene Kelly danced with a little animated mouse. And Jerry, the little mouse. And the label said, Paula, we're not releasing a 7th single. You're oversaturated at radio. I said, no, not for a single. I just want to do a long-form video, and I want to gift Gene Kelly this gift. They said, no, on the next album. I said, no, but it works for this album. Needless to say, and put up enough of a fight, and they said, all right, we'll let you do the long-form video. Well, at the same time I was choreographing the Oscars, not on tour yet. I delivered the video, and Virgin Records loved it so much they decided to release it as a 7th single, and that single, Opposites Attract alone, sold almost 10 million more copies. So it was a crazy time, and it's like, I pinched myself my entire career because there's been so many cool stories that I think no one would ever believe this.
No, and that's the thing also about your videos were so memorable from one to the next. I mean, I don't know if it was the time, it was the choreography. You also had Keanu Reeves in Rush Rush. Now he's having a bit of a renaissance himself.
I had Keanu Reeves, yes.
Right?
He had just done Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. I don't even know if the movie was already out yet, but I have a knack for casting really cool people. In my Forever Your Girl video, I casted a little 8-year-old, and he credits me as his first job that he got his SAG card. It was a young Elijah Wood, who was playing a record executive in Forever Your Girl. When I was choreographing for Duran Duran, the guys asked me to go through the modeling agencies because it was always about picking the beautiful models for their videos. And there was this, I did do the modeling call, got great models, but for the one girl, the one special girl, I kept going to Dunkin' Donuts here while I was doing casting, and I kept seeing this one girl for an open call, waiting out there on the sidewalk, and she's so beautiful, and it was. She was Christy Turlington, and after that, that video, she was the highlight of the video, and just really cool stories, really, really fun times.
Hearing that really makes sense as to why you were the perfect fit to be on American Idol as a judge, because you were, in a way, a talent
But no one
scout.
told me about the torture from the left side of my brain that's permanently damaged with a British accent.
And that would be Simon.
Who?
Simon who? You recently had a little reunion with Simon on Kelly Clarkson's show. That must have been really cool.
Well, first of all, how cool is it that, I feel like, I actually wrote on her wall at her talk show, I know that I am your second proudest mama. Because that's what I feel like, seeing all the contestants, when I was on that show, the unbelievable, awe-inspiring talent that came out of it was magical and superb. And to be on a show where now she has her own talk show, it was really cool. And then you match that and top it off with the 3 of us sitting together again. The strangest, most magical thing happens. It doesn't matter if we've not seen each other for 6 weeks or 6 years. The second we sit down together, it's like as if we never left. And I couldn't get a word in edgewise, but it's magical. There's a great chemistry between us, and it was for all of us to be together. And then Justin Guarini came on to the sets too, so it was a wonderful time.
I mean, do you feel like that show changed the game for the industry in some ways? Because it really was early on.
Goodness, right? Yeah. Well, a lot of people may or may not know that, and this is ready for another strange story? Well, even if you're not ready, I'm telling it. Okay, so this is crazy. Before American Idol came out, I got a call from my attorney that I had to sign off on licensing and mechanicals because there's this British show called Pop Idol, and all the kids are coming on and they're singing a cappella to a song that I co-wrote for Kylie Minogue called Spinning Around. And I went, oh, okay. And I'm going, I wonder what this show is about. See, I'm a proactive girl. I figure, what do I have to lose? I'm sitting there calling London, England, and I'm trying to get a hold of producers because I wanted to know about the show. And now it's Paula Abdul. Oh, bullocks, and they'd hang up the phone on me. And like after the 12th attempt, I finally sang a part of Straight Up, and I can hear the phone muffling. Oh shit, I think it's her. And so I finally got to speak to a producer, and I wanted to know what this show is about because I thought maybe I could come over and like help mentor these contestants. Well, when they went on to explain to me that it is like the beginning of the show, and it's enormous, that the queen clears her diary to vote. I went, vote on what? And they explained to me the country votes. And I said, this is crazy. And then she said, oh, yes, and it's awful, Paula. There's this dreadful, horrible, horrible record executive who just says in front of their faces, you suck, practically. And I'm listening to this, I'm going, this is crazy. And I said, well, listen, if you get down to your top 12, top 10, if you want me to come over and just mentor them for movement, I'm happy to come over. She said, we're right at the beginning, but I'm sure you'll be hearing from us. I forgot all about it. 3 months later, I get a call from the production company. We would love for you to come out. And I said, oh, I just took on a choreographing a film for Dana Carvey, and I couldn't. She goes, well, don't worry. She goes, in the next 9 months, it's the hugest show. I'm sure there'll be a bidding war for it in America. Well, swear to God, this is the truth. 9 months later, I forgot all about that conversation. I got a call that some executives at Fox wanted to meet with me to talk about this show. I forgot all about the conversation. And here I was. I went into Fox, and they're talking about this American Idol. And I heard, oh, and be sitting between a wonderful, wonderful black man named Randy Jackson. He's not part of the Jackson 5. So I realized, they don't realize I choreographed the Jackson 5, and they didn't know already that I knew Randy Jackson. So I'm going, oh, that's cool. And a dreadful, dreadful, dreadful British man. And I'm going, they don't realize, like, I really know about this show. And I'm sitting there listening, going, And honest to God, I decided on a whim at that point, because I feel like I'm a born mentor. Like, I should have a card that says mentor at law. Because I've been a mentor and a teacher pretty much my whole life. And I knew that I would be there rooting for the kids, but I didn't know that I'd be fighting the guy to the left of me too. And Ryan Seacrest at the time, he was a DJ on Star 97, and he was starting out, and it just was incredible. And the truth is, I didn't know this until after I got the show. They had already circulated all the studios, all the networks in America. Everyone turned down American Idol. Every network turned down American Idol, and Rupert Murdoch's daughter went back to Fox and said to her dad, "This has to be on TV." And so here we were on Fox. No one knew if the show was going to even exist. Didn't even know if it was going to last more than 1 or 2 weeks. And who knew? But it became a cultural phenomenon, a game changer. It changed the trajectory of everyone's lives. So, yeah, it was the most exciting time. And I was like front and center. I had the best seats in the house. Like, you know what else was cool? I would take some of it, because we'd each get a little allotment of tickets, and I would take my tickets and donate them to charities, because they'd get so much money, because everyone wanted to be in that live audience. So it was just total blessing.
Industry changing, life changing, and still going.
Still
going.
Yep.
Well, we have a lot of questions from the crowd, but I want to show off the first question from our Twitter.
You got it.
Yeah. So, Paula, can you ask Paula what dance elements she thinks pop performances are missing today, and what she'd like to see more of from new artists dance-wise?
Definitely twerking. I'm kidding. I'm allergic to twerk. No, I can't. My body doesn't do that. I think there are incredible artists out today. But if you're talking about dancing, I didn't have YouTube. There was no such thing as the internet way back when. I didn't have the ability to actually, at my fingertips, be able to research, and so it forced me to be creative and come up with my own style. And that ended up working in a wonderful way. I really encourage all artists to study the pioneers that led the path as the stage presence and showmanship, because you can borrow some of the most unbelievable stage presence and technique from previous artists, and that really look for that on YouTube. Like when I was working with Michael Jackson, he wanted to do stuff with a hat. So for me, my research was finding movies that, from everyone from Fred Astaire to Donald O'Connor to people that did wonderful things with a hat. And I think that dare yourself to go on the internet, go into YouTube, and study some incredible greats that came decades before you, because it's important, because everything old is new again, and it's how you interpret it, and it becomes your own new mark,
Absolutely. We have some questions from the crowd, but before we do, I have to say you look amazing.
Thank you.
I understand you have
Yes,
some...
I have something to tell you.
Yes.
Because people say, well, okay, I'm a truthful girl. I never could lie about my age, because I was honest always from the beginning. So everyone knows that I'm 57 and a half years old. And good things come in small packages. But like every other woman and gentleman too, there's a thing called gravity. As you get older, you want it. Yeah, and we're all laughing, but it's there. It's true. Every single day, every one of us are getting older. And yeah, when I knew that I was getting a residency in Las Vegas, I thought, I want to keep my appearance up. And for me, I always wanted to have a sleeker jawline. I know you're looking at me like, whatever, but it's the truth. And for me, I thought now's a great time. But trying to navigate it's like theme parks of aesthetic treatments, and like, how you know which ones work. But I found this company called InMode, and they do this technique called face tight and body tight, and it's a laser. And it works off a radio frequency. I wanted a sleeker jawline, and so I love the before and after results that I saw. And I'm not ready to do the major incision. I'm not ready to have plastic surgery. I wanted to have a cosmetic procedure that there's no downtime. Literally no. Like 2 days later, I walked out of the house, but no visible scarring, none of that. It just was something that's very natural. Look at this. I mean, come on, look at this. I'm kidding with you guys, but truthfully, I love the results, and it's very natural. And if anyone's, and I've recommended it to everyone, because there's very little downtime. Like I said, I was walking the streets. I mean, not like that walking this. I walked outside. 2-3 days later, but it's incredible. It helps stimulate collagen, it contours, and you know, when you're looking at all these different procedures that there are, you don't know what to pick. And for me, I was very careful because I didn't want to look different. I just wanted to create a more youthful profile.
Oh, well, I want to get to some questions from the crowd first. So let's get to it.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Gloria Jules.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You're so interesting. I could listen to you all day.
Oh, thank you. You're the only person that says that. If Simon were here, he'd be going, but thank you.
Okay, my question is, what is the craziest thing that has happened to you during your career?
That's like a laundry list. I mean, from what aspect? What part of my career? Which God, craziest thing? There's so many crazy things that happen.
Outrageous.
Okay, this is embarrassing that happened. This is embarrassing, but it's the truth. Okay, so I'm at my gynecologist's office. That's a good opener, isn't it? Where my gynecologist's office is, it's the only place you can get a pap smear and a Starbucks latte at the same time. They're right next to each other. Truth be told. No, so I'm there, and I can tell that, you know, a couple of the nurses that work there, and they were excited. They were excited to meet me. But no one, you know, no one had the courage to ask me, you know, and I'll sign your arm. I don't, you know, I'm like that. But instead of being brave enough to ask if they could take a picture or get an autograph if they wanted to, instead, one of them stole my urine sample.
Oh my God.
And found out online, I've got Paula's urine sample.
Oh my
So,
God.
but then they took it off because they wanted to keep it because my name's on it. So, yeah, I don't think that happened to anyone else. That's strange.
That is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can beat. I wanted to give you one that no one can beat.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that question. We have another one in the crowd here.
Okay, right now I know probably my publicist wants to kill me. And I understand. I can understand why.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
So
What's your name?
I'm Nosa. How you doing?
Nice to meet you, Nosa.
Thank you. So you pretty much done it all, like movies, TV, television, #1 albums. Right now, like how do you find album or find projects that, you know, interest you, and how do you like choose them?
That's a great question. I find a lot when you're in an industry like this, the industry and it makes you feel like, people make you feel like you're never going to work again. So you know, early on I was saying yes to a lot of projects, but I learned early on that there's something beautiful and powerful about saying no to something that doesn't feel like totally right, because you have to be brave enough to say no so that the door opens up for something that you become extremely excited and passionate about. I think a lot of people are afraid to do so. And like some of the things I talk about and mentor to other young people who are starting up in their career is to not be afraid to really think about things. It should never be solely about money. Yes, the money, you want to take a good job financially, but you have to feel good in your heart. And you know, for me, I always say, no matter what job I'm doing, whether it's gratis or financially rewarding, I have to feel like my heart's in it, and I always want to approach a project that I have no regrets, no matter, and I don't attach myself to the outcome, because I learned if you attach yourself to the outcome, it takes away the joy of being in the present, and then it sets yourself up for disappointment, because I say anything you approach, do it with reckless abandon and passion, and then do your best and leave it alone. If it's meant to be that it works out, fantastic. If not, you did a damn good job in your interview or your audition. And for me right now, especially, I'm doing things like that are in my heart place for me. I wanted to perform again. I went through a crazy time in my career, at the top of my music career, where I was on tour and got had to do a crash landing in a 7-seater plane. And I unfortunately didn't have my seatbelt on, and one of the engines blew up, caught on fire, and we plummeted, and I hit my head on the top of the plane, and I ruptured my entire C-spine. So I was sidelined from my career for almost 7.5 years, and then I appeared on American Idol. And for me, it's like I learned through that time, if you align yourself with passion, outside of whatever you do, from being a mom, dad, or whatever your job is, always find something that is in your heart place that you align yourself with, because that keeps you present and it keeps you on a track of being passionate. I hope that helps answer it. You got it.
Thank you for that question. We have time for one more question here.
Paula, what are your dreams and inspirations for your future career? Any totally new projects?
When I grow up, excuse me, what is your name first?
Julia.
Julia?
Yes.
Hi, Julia. You know, it's really cool because I feel like there's a renaissance for me right now that's happened with my career, and I feel like I'm 25 years ago, starting all over again. That's what it feels like for me, and there are so many things I want to do. You know, I do want to direct, and I'm going to put it out there. I want to be in a scripted series on television. How about that? Yeah, and I want to travel. I want to travel the world and not just see it from a point of view of being in a hotel room, because usually I go to amazing places, but I can't tell you anything other than the hotel decor, because I go in, I work, and I get out. And I'm always passionate about helping others. Like one of my most precious experiences is going to Kenya and help building schools and, you know, giving back. That's always a gift that keeps on giving. So for me, I'm starting again. Like it's a whole new, and I feel like every single thing I do now, I feel giddy in a sense of like it's brand new again for me. And yeah, I still have a bucket list that's this tall that I want to do. Thank you for asking.
That is actually a great place to end our chat today. Thank you for all the great questions, and thank you for coming by today. You can catch Paula Abdul in Vegas.
Come out, dance with me.
Dance with her. She's having a renaissance at the Flamingo, and you can get all the information at paulaabdul.com, right?
Yes, you can.
All right, give it up, everyone, one more time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.